We've all seen it. The polished corporate campaigns selling the dream of work-life balance. Bright smiles, trendy office spaces, and a promise that you can have it all. It's a comforting narrative, especially in a world where we are constantly trying to juggle careers, families, and personal passions. But is this idea of balance just an illusion? Are we buying into a well-crafted story that's more fiction than reality? Here's the kicker. This corporate slogan has become so ingrained that many of us don't even question it. We've been led to believe that if we are struggling to balance it all, it's our fault. We are just not managing our time well enough, or we are not being efficient enough. But let's flip the script for a moment. What if the system itself is broken?
Well, let me tell you something, brother!
What if this balance we are striving for is designed to be just out of reach, keeping us chasing an unattainable goal? Let's pull back the curtain and look at what's really happening in the workplace. Corporations may promise flexibility and balance, but what do they actually deliver? There's talk of flex hours and remote work, but how many of us find ourselves logging back in after dinner, checking emails late into the night, or even working through the weekends? The reality is that while companies tout balance, they often set expectations that make true balance impossible. And data doesn't lie, that the average workday is getting longer, not shorter. And with the advent of remote work, the boundaries between office and home have blurred to the point where they barely exist. The so-called flexibility often translates to always on, where the expectation is that you're available at all times. It's like being handed a shiny new toy, only to realize it's more of a burden than a gift. This constant grind comes at a cost. And it's not just about missing out on personal time. The toll that overwork takes on our health is staggering. Burnout has become an epidemic, with symptoms like chronic fatigue, anxiety, and depression on the rise. And it's not just mental health that's suffering. Physically, overwork can lead to serious conditions, heart disease, obesity, and even increased risks of stroke. And let's not forget the toll on our relationships. When work takes over our lives, it's our loved ones who actually suffer. When was the last time you truly unplugged? The constant pressure to perform and produce doesn't just affect us at work. It seeps into every aspect of our lives. We start to measure our worth by our productivity, losing sight of what really matters. Relationships falter, hobbies disappear, and the joy we once found in our life dims. It's a vicious cycle, where the more we work, the less we have to give, and the more we feel we need to work to keep up. Here's where it gets even more twisted. Despite all the evidence showing that how damaging overwork can be, corporations continue to push the narrative that work-life balance is achievable. If only you can manage your own time better, or adopt the latest productivity hack. It's a classic corporate doublespeak. They acknowledge the problem, but the solution they offer rarely addresses the root cause. Instead, they shift the responsibility onto the employees, suggesting that balance is something we can achieve if we work a little harder at it. Productivity, efficiency, optimization. These are the buzzwords for modern corporate culture. But what they often translate to is do more with less, leaving employees stretched thinner and thinner. The truth is, while companies may promote work-life balance as an ideal, they're ultimately more concerned with their bottom line. And that often means pushing employees to their limits, all while maintaining the illusion that balance is within reach. So, where do you go from here? It's clear that the current concept of work-life balance is deeply flawed. It's a myth perpetuated by corporations to keep us motivated and compliant, dangling the promise of balance just out of reach. But it doesn't have to be this way. Change is possible, but it requires a cultural shift, one where we redefine success and well-being on our own terms, not those dictated by our employers. Some forward-thinking companies are experimenting with shorter work weeks, offering more flexible hours, and recognizing the importance of downtime. These changes are a step in the right direction, but they're still the exception, not the rule. To create lasting change, we need to continue advocating for a healthier approach to work, one that prioritizes human well-being over endless productivity. Because at the end of the day, work should be a part of life, not the thing that consumes it.